Everybody, what's up? Jeannie May here, and on this week's of Mondays with Maybay, I want to talk a little bit about self perception. And the reason I want to talk on this is because yesterday at church, they briefly touched on lies and how our lies that we continually tell ourselves, or the lies that we choose to believe, how they start to shape our reality. Right? Think about it. If you are in an unhealthy relationship and they continually tell you lies about what they're doing or why X, Y, and Z happened, you start to kind of form in your brain this reality of, when this happens, it's a result of X, Y, Z. Even though that's not the truth at all, right? You start to believe those habits, and then when someone comes along down the road and they act normally, it's like, whoa, whoa, why are you doing that? That's not normal. And they're like, yeah, this is actually completely normal. And you're like, no, it's not. Right? Like, it's so crazy to me how much our thoughts shape our reality and how much they can change or distort our life as we know it. And so I wanted to touch bases on this week because um, I've been going through therapy a lot lately and just trying to improve my self-talk, because there for a while, as I shared with you guys in previous podcasts, I was just in a really low point. I was just, whether, I was mad at myself, I was mad at the world, whatever it may be, I was just at a really low point. And during this low point, I was talking down on myself. I was so negative with myself. I remember my therapist asked me a question about, what are some positive things about you? I've heard you say nothing but negative. What are some positive? And I was like, well, that's because there is nothing positive about me. I'm not a great person. I do X, Y, and Z. I'm out here drinking. I'm talking down on people. I could not come up with anything that I thought about myself that was positive. And it was just really eye-opening for me. I don't know what that was. Sorry, it was distracting me. But I don't know. I couldn't think of anything positive. And it was just crazy to me because as I'm looking around my office, I'm very highly established. There's so many letters on my wall from people that have handwritten me letters about how I've impacted their life and how I've changed their life. I have magazine article after magazine article, interview after interview. And she asked me to give self-description of positive things about me, and I couldn't, because all I was choosing to believe was this negative self-talk, was this lie that I had told myself over and over and over. And I was listening to that message yesterday at church, and it really just started to get into my head, because I was like, how many people struggle with this? How many people are just going through life choosing to believe lies, whether it's, society telling them that they're not good enough because maybe you're not that typical supermodel stereotype, or maybe you're not the perfect engineer, or, the star athlete, or whatever the heck is going through your head here. How many of us struggle with actual reality? How many of us struggle with our own self-perception? And so I really wanted to touch base on this. I don't think we realize how much our thoughts and how much day-to-day lies that we choose to believe actually alter our reality. And it's crazy, because we start to absorb what we see going on around us, right? That's why they say, like, if you want to be better, surround yourself with better. If you want to be, more knowledgeable about finance, surround yourself with people that are in finance. If you want to be a better parent, surround yourself with better parents, X, Y, Z, right? And that is true with everything in life. If you want to improve your self-talk, if you want to improve your outlook on life, then you need to search and reach for that, right? If you want to have a better outlook on life, then you obviously need to start watching podcasts that are more positive, more motivational, more inspirational. If you want, to challenge your mindset, you need to read books that are more challenging, or listen to podcasts that are more challenging. You cannot continue to go through life and choose to listen to these lies that you see. For me, A huge one was social media, especially as a social media influencer. I had over 1 million followers on pretty much every account I had, and I became a total alternate person than I was. I had like a bunch of different faces. I had social media Jeannie. I had home Jeannie, where I would just like embody this personality of, the perfect mom, because I wanted to be that perfect mom for my son, but I wanted to leave model Jeannie at the door. I didn't want my son to see that. So I would, like, in a sense, take off that mask and then put on, my mom mask. And then I would step into that reality and I would be the best mom I could be. And then outside of being a mom, I also had work Jeannie, because I was still working at Bell Hardware, which I was a project coordinator, project manager, and doing, like engineering blueprints and approving blueprints and stuff like that for them. And so I went from, model Jeannie to mom Jeannie to work Jeannie to Jesus Jeannie, church Jeannie to gym Jeannie. And every single one of those personas were different. And that was because I chose to believe that no one would accept me for who I was, and that I wasn't good enough the way I was. So I had to embody this personality. I had to take on someone else so that I could be that best version of myself. If you've ever heard the expression, oh gosh, totally just blanked my little pea brain here. Hold on, bear with me. Dress to impress, right? If you want to be successful, dress to be successful, right? That's also true with this embodiment, right? So I read about it in a book a long time ago, about a psychology book, and it said, people that have a fear of, failure, or fear of letting people down, or fear of rejection, they embody this persona of like someone that you really look up to in that field. And so for me, as a model, I always embodied, a supermodel. I always embodied like a Victoria's Secret model. I always embodied Sandra Bullock, because she's one of my absolute idols. I love her as a person inside and out. And I would always embody these people when I was in that role, because I was always under this impression that I would never be good enough. At a very young age, I was always told that I was never going to be enough. I would never be good enough. No one would ever want me the way I was. I was damaged. I was broken. And then as I grew up, watching social media and watching all of these perfect families and all of these girls living this life that I always wanted, I started to make lies for myself, and I started to believe these lies that I was telling myself, that I would never be good enough. And then I started believing like the devil worked his way into my life and into my head, and just planted these seeds and planted these roots of fear and of doubt and, neglect, self-neglect. And so those thoughts quickly became deep embedded lies, and I chose to believe those, and they started to shape my reality. And my perception of myself started to dwindle. See, I used to see myself as like this invincible superhero. When I was a little girl, I remember I would play dress up at one of my foster homes, and I would always put on this cape, and I just felt so invincible, and they could never get me out of this cape. I would wear it to school. I would wear it, to church. I would wear it when we're eating. I would wear it around the house. This was a foster home. I probably stayed with them maybe 3 different times for very short periods. It was just like a quick little turnover. But every single time I was there, I would grab the cape and I would put it on, and I would never take it off. And that was my way of feeling invincible. And at some point, I gave up. At some point, I decided to stop trying, because someone had broke me down so much. And those lies, those deep embedded lies, embedded themselves so deep into me, into my soul, that I didn't believe I had any other option. I didn't believe I could be anything other than a failure. My self-perception quickly went from this invincible, indestructible, beautiful, kind-hearted little girl that had the world at her fingertips, to a weak little broken soul that had no hope and no future, and was never going to be good enough for anything that she ever dreamed of. And I was sitting here, and as I was listening to that message yesterday, talking about how we start to believe, the lies that we're told and how it alters our life and how it shapes the way we think and how it shapes the way we live. I was sitting there and I was just thinking, I was reflecting back on my life and on my childhood. And if you've been watching for a while, you know I have not had the best childhood. And if you're new here, I went through abuse after abuse after abuse, foster home after foster home after foster home, mental, physical, you name it. I went through every kind of abuse you could possibly imagine. And then I went through cancer. I battled cancer twice on my own. I didn't have family with me. I did it completely solo. Then I went through a super abusive relationship to being a single parent, to a failed marriage, to being a single parent again. And so if you want to learn more, I'll watch some of my videos that can help get you caught up. But I will be retouching it as we go on through this year. But anyway, sorry, rabbit hole. I was reflecting back on, just my seasons that I've gone through and every challenge I've gone through. And with every challenge came a new lie, came a new negative self-talk that I told myself. See, at a very young age, I quickly believed that I would never be good enough, that no one would ever want me because my own mom didn't even want me. My dad, was always in prison, and it made me feel like as a child that I was never good enough for them, that it was my fault that everything happened to me. And so at a young age, it got embedded that I was never enough. I was not good enough. And then it quickly went to, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't have a normal home. I can't do this. I don't have all the resources all these other families have. I can't do this. I don't have X, Y, and Z. I can't do this. Why am I even here, right? Why am I even trying? Why am I even here? I'm a waste of space. I'm never going to be beautiful. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm not a good person. I'm not a good mom. And after a while, all of this negative self-talk started to shape me from this beautiful kindred soul to a very sheltered, very scared person. And not so much scared of the world, but scared of me. Scared of the opportunity and the dreams that I had in my head. I always had this vision of just helping people, and I've always had this passion in my heart to help people. But as I went through all of these challenges and as it shaped my reality, I couldn't even help myself. How on earth am I going to help other people? And that was probably my biggest fear in life, was that I was never going to be able to achieve my dream of helping others. And it wasn't until recently, actually, that I was able to give a voice to the voiceless. And I was able to help people confidently achieve their goals and confidently pursue their dreams. And it wasn't until I was reflecting on this yesterday that it clicked that, it's not so much the negative self-talk that we tell ourselves, but it's the lies that we choose to believe that shape our reality. And those go hand in hand, right? So if you're constantly talking down on yourself, that is going to alter your mind, and it's going to embed into like a lie into your soul, and then it's going to alter your reality, and it's going to alter your perception of yourself. But if that negative self-talk comes in and you write it down and then you burn it, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't embed in you. It doesn't plant its roots in you. It doesn't go anywhere, right? But if you do have this like deep-rooted fear of you're never going to be good enough, you're never going to, you're not smart, you're not beautiful, you're not X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank here, it's gonna embed itself so deep in you. And the question I want to ask you is, when did you learn to give up? When did you learn to give up? When did you decide to stop trying? See, I have a 8-year-old son, and I'm 29 years old, and this 8-year-old little boy teaches me so much about life. It is insane. Every single day, he astonishes me, and it's so incredible to watch this little boy who's developing into this wonderful man, this wonderful person of God. And it's so wonderful to watch him keep trying. And it's so wonderful to watch him not give up on things. And it could be something as silly as trying to tie his shoe. And I get so frustrated because I'm like, just let me do it. And he's like, no, I got this. And he gets so mad and so frustrated, but he will sit there for an hour trying to tie his shoe. And I know that's a silly example, but what it teaches me is that I gave up so easy. I used to be so persistent. And on some things I still really am, but I used to be so persistent and just try and try and try and try and try until I would get it. But now I'll try and it doesn't work, so then I'll give up. I might wait a little bit and then I might, go back to it and try it again until I get it. But I give up so easy. And I was trying to figure out when I learned how to give up, when I decided to stop trying. Because babies, if you think about it, there's no story about a baby that couldn't figure out how to walk and just gave up, right? Like, that's unheard of, okay? It is our desire to keep trying until we get it right. But over the years, we've either absorbed our parents telling themselves they're not good enough, or they can't do it, or this is stupid, why am I even trying? Or we've absorbed our parents telling us that we're not good enough and we can't do it and we're stupid. Why are we even trying? We're a waste of space, right? Somewhere along the line, we've absorbed this negative self-talk and we've absorbed this negative self-perception, and we decided to give up. For me, it was at a young age, and that's why I'm so grateful that God allowed me the opportunity to be a mother to such a beautiful little boy. And he's going between two homes, so I mean it's rough on him too. But I'm so thankful that he gave me a boy to look at and to live through, in a sense. He is so spontaneous. He is so wild, and he's so hard-headed. He's just like me. But he doesn't give up and he doesn't stop trying. And I don't think I've ever heard him once say, I'm never going to be good enough. This is stupid. Why am I even trying? I have heard him say, like, I can't do this. I have heard him say, like, I'm not good at this. But I've never heard him say, like, I'm a waste of space. I'm not good enough. And it's just so wonderful because for me, that was like an everyday vocabulary. That was like a regular conversation. Every time I look in the mirror, every time I'd try something, I didn't even try out for sports for the longest time because I just never thought I was going to be good enough. I didn't try out for, acting classes. I didn't try out for like anything for the longest time because I didn't think I was going to be good enough. It wasn't until I was like 9, 10, maybe even older actually, probably 11 or 12. But I was in foster care here in Oregon, and my foster mom was like, have you ever tried chess club or sports? And I was like, no. She's like, well, why not? And I was like, I don't know. I just figured I wouldn't be good at them. And she was like, all right, well, let's sign you up. Let's see. And I was like, okay. So we signed up. I tried it out. And I was actually really dang good at chess. I went on to like the national championships. I won a bunch of trophies in it. I know, total nerd. And then I went into band, and I was really good at band. And then I went into choir, and I was really good at singing. And then I did sports, and I was really good at sports. Like almost everything I tried, I was really good at. Because when I finally put my mind to it, I did it, And it was such a realization that all that negative self-talk that I had told myself all over the years just really just altered my perception and altered my thoughts of who I was. And it wasn't until, someone else started to believe in me that I could actually believe in myself. See, I read this thing somewhere somewhere in one of these books, and it stuck with me all these years, and I want to share it with you. And it says, what do you believe of yourself? And I was sitting there and I was thinking of that. And if you were to ask me this like 10 years ago, heck, 5 years ago, I believe I'm a failure. I believe I'm a terrible mother. I believe I'm a terrible person. I believe I'm never going to be good enough. I believe I'm not worthy of love. I believe I'm never going to be happy. I believe no one could ever love me or want to be with someone like me. I believe the damage is done. it's deep, right? Like, I've gone through so much crap in my life that this is what I would tell myself over and over and over again. Today, if you asked me what I believe of myself, I believe I'm strong. I believe I'm courageous. I believe I'm a beautiful shining light. I believe I'm wise. I believe I'm worthy of love. I believe I'm good enough. And I believe I'm a damn good mom. If there's anything I know of, I know I'm a damn good mom. And I know for a fact, God put me through all of those trials and all of those challenges so that I could shine my light with others and so that I can help them through their challenges and through their struggles. And I've done that in so many different ways, and it's just so revitalizing and so encouraging. My whole purpose in life was to just make a difference, and I never thought I would ever be able to do that. But I've done that, and I continue to do that, and I'm just so thrilled and happy and just in awe that I get to do this every single day. I get to make a difference every single day. I get to share my light through all the challenges I've gone through every single day, and I get to help other people change their perception and change their future. If you want more of yourself, you need to believe more of yourself. If you want more of yourself, you need to believe more of yourself. I didn't understand that for the longest time. Honestly, I thought the person that wrote that book was just full of it. They were just coming up with stuff so that they could finish the book and then just get it out. But it wasn't until I got older and I reread this book and I looked back on it and I was like, if you want more of yourself, you need to believe more of yourself. I didn't know what that meant for the longest time. I didn't know what it meant to believe in yourself because I never had anyone believe in me, ever. I never had someone tell me I could do it. I never had someone support me or just encourage me. If anything, I've always had people discourage me. And so for me, it was just so crazy to think of believing in myself. And so I reread this and I was sitting there and I was pondering it. And I was like, if I wanted to believe in myself, what would I have needed to do that? And so I wrote a letter to myself. I wrote a letter as an adult, as adult Jeannie, to childhood Jeannie. And like the number one sentence I said was, you are enough. Don't ever, ever, ever believe you are not enough, because you are enough. You are beautifully and wonderfully made in God. And there's a reason you're here. Don't give up yet. I know right now all of these challenges you're going through don't make sense. And you're so mad that you're going through all of this. But when we grow up, we're going to use all of these challenges and all of this pain that we're going through, and we're going to impact so many people. So just hold on for that. If anything else, just hold on for that, because you are enough and you are worthy of love. And that killed me, because as a child, I didn't have that. I didn't have someone encouraging me. I didn't have someone telling me why I was going through all this pain and all this trauma and all this hurt, or why I had to face cancer by myself, or just anything. I had no idea. I even turned to suicide. I tried to kill myself. I couldn't even kill myself. I was like, oh, great. I'm not even good enough to do that. It's not funny, but at the time. Anyways, I never had someone to believe in myself. And I'm sitting here and I'm writing this letter, and it was like an 8-page essay at the end of it. And I was just rereading it, and I was just crying. Because if I had someone believe in me at all at a young age, how much further could I be today? How much more of an impact can I make in the world? How many more people could I reach if I just had that one person believe in me, that one person support me, that one person stand behind me at an early age? And that just kills me, because I chose to allow that negative self-talk, those lies that were embedded in my head, I chose to allow those to alter and shape my reality. And so I want to encourage you today, if anything that I said resonated with you, please, 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 please reflect on your life. Write a letter as an adult to your childhood self of what you needed to hear. And read it and look back on it and just think. Just just reflect on, when did you learn to give up? When did you decide to stop trying? And what do you need to do to believe in yourself? That's all I got for you today. Sorry, I know it's kind of deep, but you needed it as much as I needed it. So there's that. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy, for those of you that keep checking in with me weekly, that keep sending me messages, that keep sending me emails. Please keep it up. I absolutely love them. I know last week I took a little bit of time off and I was in Florida fishing, but I'm getting back to all my emails and getting everyone answered. So please don't feel like I forgot about you, because I didn't. You matter. I'm here for you. You are enough, you are good enough, and you are worthy. So thank you so much again for your support, your continued support, and I look forward to seeing you next week at next week's episode. With that being said, make it your mission to make someone's day better. Have a wonderful week this week. Be safe, and I will catch you next week.